More information will just trickle in, but this is the important news at hand, and we should just stay with this story. Remember, I think Supriya joins in with a quick take. Relief for power discoms, and that's something that will be the key talking point as we go along. Supriya, do you have more details on this developing story?
So what we're given to understand right now is that the Delhi High Court has essentially upheld the plea of distribution companies like a TATA Power, like a Reliance Power, and it has said that there will be no CAG audit of these private distribution companies, power distribution companies. Remember, there was a huge standoff between the government led by Arvind Kejriwal on one hand and these private distribution companies on the other, and for now the Delhi High Court seems to find favor with the fact that they don't need to be audited by India's top auditor, state-owned, state-controlled, the CAG. I would want to get Arun Nayal on the phone line, if I may, and take this forward and also get you more perspective with experts on this. But you can see the stock reaction actually begin to come in. Tata Power is up 1.3%. Also, let's pull up Reliance Power and see how that counter is doing. Two of those by this Reliance Infra right now is 7.7% up on the back of that news perhaps coming in. This is an important verdict that has come in from the Delhi High Court. Remember Arvind Kejriwal, when he had come and he had promised, his big electoral promise was that he's going to reduce the power tariff. Okay, we do have my colleague Arun Nayal who's joining us from right outside the Delhi High Court where this verdict has been pronounced on the phone line. What is exactly what the court has said? No audit of private distribution companies by the CAG, but any other observations made there, Arun?
They have rejected. They have allowed this petition of private discoms, saying that they had said that they cannot be CAG audit on their accounts, saying that because they are private entities and not government entities, that they can be undergone the scrutiny of the Comptroller and Auditor General of India. And this means that all the CAG audit which was in progress and a draft report was also filed by CAG would be stalled. All this progress which had been made in the past 1.5 years would be stalled, and there would be no CAG audit on these companies, BACS Power and Tata Power Limited. There will not be a CAG audit on these companies. Remember, when Arvind Kejriwal had come to power in 2014, he had ordered a CAG audit on these companies. These companies had subsequently challenged it before the single bench of the Delhi High Court, which had ruled in favor of the government and said that CAG audit would continue against these companies. These companies had challenged this order before a division bench of the High Court, and the High Court had reserved its judgment in March, and now this judgment has been delivered, saying that they cannot be CAG audit on these companies. In the meanwhile, CAG was conducting audit, and they had come up with a draft report in which it had alleged that these companies had inflated their dues to the tune of 8,000 crore rupees, and they were deliberately showing losses in order to inflate tariffs, power tariffs in the capital. But now the CAG audit has been stalled, so it would remain to be seen. It's a big win for discoms in this case.
Arun Nayal breaking that big story first and exclusive right here on ETNOW. Let's take it across to Mr. Umar Shankar, the former Power Secretary, who joins us on the phone line with his perspective. Thanks very much, sir, for being with us. This was a big bone of contention between the Delhi government, led by Mr. Kejriwal, and of course the private distribution companies. The court ruling in favor of the discoms and saying there can be no CAG audit. What are the implications of this verdict according to you?
Hello?
Yes, Mr. Umar Shankar?
Yes, I just heard you saying that the Delhi High Court has said that there cannot be an audit of the discoms. So this has been a matter of contention for some time. I think one thing is probably clarified through this, that if you have a project in which government has a stake and the majority is with the private entrepreneur, and if it's termed as a private enterprise, then there can be no CAG audit. So I think this is what probably is clarified. And this will again be useful for everyone in future who gets into public-private partnership. There will be ample clarity as to whether there will be a CAG audit or not. Now, coming to the discoms, well, one of the things I had been hearing about the interim audit report that was supposed to be sent by CAG to the discoms, which has not been in the public domain, is that it went into probably areas which are not within the domain of CAG. As you would know, the electricity sector has, there is an act which has created a certain structure for the sector. You have the regulatory commissions, you have the appellate tribunal, you have CERC and so on. Given the technical nature of the sector, these commissions are expected to look at various issues that come up and sort them out. What I heard was that in the interim report that the CAG is supposed to have submitted, there are a lot of comments on the decisions taken by the regulatory commissions, by CERC and even APTEC. I thought that was probably not warranted, and where you have set up a clear structure for the power sector, this would, I thought, constitute unnecessary interference. I suppose all that has now been put to an end, and if I think that was true and that had gone ahead, there would have been some bit of impairment of the working of the regulatory commissions. I think all that is now at an end. But in any case, the regulatory commissions can always look at anything that they feel is amiss in a DISCOM. They can definitely ask for special audit report or performance report on that. So that is that is still available, and it is for the regulatory commissions to take a view on. So I think, given the special nature of the power sector, this I think is a welcome judgment, and that should be fine. Hello?
Right. So the very quick question is that the CAG did continue with the audit, and now of course the court has said that it cannot go ahead with auditing these private distribution companies. My question to you is, what happens with the findings of the draft report? Dues inflated to the tune of 8,000 crore rupees, the DISCOMs manipulated consumer figures. These are some of the allegations that were made in the draft CAG report. What really happens to that? Because the final verdict from the court is they cannot be a CAG audit.
Which means that even, I suppose, the draft report is null and void. The draft report is merely a draft. It would have been considered a report only if it had been given a final shape. So the report is not final. It is a draft report, and at this stage the High Court has held that there cannot be a CAG audit. I suppose the draft report would be null and void. That is my immediate impression of this. There cannot be a report. If the High Court says the CAG cannot audit, there can either be an initial report, draft report, or a final report.
Fair point indeed. So the draft report stands null and void. I do have Mr. Praveen Sinha of TATA Power joining me on the phone line, is what I'm given to understand. Can I go across to Mr. Sinha, please? Alright, I do have Mr. Praveen Sinha. Congratulations, sir. The Delhi High Court has upheld your plea and has said that the CAG cannot really audit private distribution companies like yourself. This is a big shot in the arm for you, I would believe.
Yeah, we've just heard about that, Delhi High Court has come with its judgment, and we feel that as a public service company, we are always very transparent and open, and we provide the best of our services to our consumers, and to that extent we are always accountable to the regulator, to the consumers and to the government, and we will continue to do our work which we have been doing for the last 13 years with utmost diligence, and we will give very good quality service to our consumers.
Alright, in your plea you had said that the 2002 communication of the CAG said that the DISCOMs were not government entities, and according to section 20 of the CAG Act, the top auditor is not empowered to audit. You now say you are open to any kind of regulation and any kind of regulatory gaze if it were. What does this really mean? Will you be open to sharing your books with the government at any stage, maybe not a CAG audit? Is that what you're referring to?
What we are referring to is that we are governed under the Electricity Act, and the Electricity Act provides for the checking of all the financial books and prudence checks by the Regulatory Commission, and we are governed under the law of the land, and that is what we will be doing in future also. So we will follow the law and we will, to that extent, be absolutely transparent and provide all documents which is required by the Regulatory Commission for discharging their duties.
Mr. Sinha, while it's a big shot in the arm and while the court has said that there will be no CAG audit, there is a draft report because the court had asked the top auditor to go ahead with the audit, and there is a draft report which does make some damning allegations. It says that the DISCOMs inflated previously incurred losses and inflated losses to the tune of 8,000 crore rupees. You manipulated consumer figures. Is that something, are those allegations, of course, now stand null and void because there cannot be a CAG audit, but will you seek legal recourse for the allegations that have been made in the draft report?
Well, I have not seen the full order copy, and once we see the full order copy, we'll be able to comment anything on that. We can only say that as far as we are concerned, we have followed all the law. Our accounts are checked on an annual basis by the Regulatory Commission, and based on that, they pass the order, the tariff order, and the various regulations that they pass. And we have complied to all the requirements, and we don't feel that there is any gap in our process or in our working which can be questioned by anyone.
One of the allegations made was that the DISCOMs favored their group companies. The fact that there was an inter-group transaction that happened both at your and Reliance's level. How would you defend that allegation, and are you a relieved man that the court does not seem to find favor with that allegation? All right, Mr. Praveen Sinha's line seems to have got disconnected, but the story really telling on his talk there. 2% up for Tata Power, and Reliance Infra has shot up levels of over 7.5%. You'd like to take the story forward in the Mumbai studios. I'm given to understand we have some analysts who are joining us on the phone line. All right, we still have Mr. Umashankar. Mr. Umashankar, while you say that this is null and void, this draft CAG allegations, but the fact that some damning allegations were made, they said they inflated costs significantly, they also manipulated as far as loss figures are concerned, they favored their group companies, they bought costly power, inflated costs and suppressed revenue. What is going to happen to some of these damning allegations, and is this the last we've seen? This is just the Delhi High Court. Do you expect Mr. Kejriwal and his government, who actually got elected on that power tariff counter, to move the higher court? Is this the last we've seen as far as the legal battle is concerned?
I think one can only comment on the judgment of the High Court on CAG's competence to audit. So if the CAG cannot audit, then we cannot take cognizance of any report that they have given in this regard. At this stage, it's only a draft report. You cannot take cognizance of a draft report. But I suppose that if somebody wishes to pick up some of the so-called allegations and agitate it in a different forum, that will always be open, but that will again be subjected to verification by that forum and acceptance and so on. So I would think that the report in itself, the draft report in itself, will not have any merit to go ahead with. But if somebody thinks that it gives some inputs to go forward with, that option is always open to a person.
To understand, I have Mr. Ravindranath Nair joining me on the phone line. What do you make of the judgment by the Delhi High Court, and how should it impact both Reliance Infra and also Tata Power? Has this been priced in, or is this like a fresh piece of information that's coming in that is going to tell on the stock?
Basically, I can see, I have not seen the draft from the High Court that has come. But basically, I can see that the two things, the accounts of these two companies have been audited by the auditors, and also they give the moiety to the regulator to come out with the tariff petition every year. If at all the CAG will audit again, that will question if at all there is something wrong comes up in the tariff petition or something in the balance sheet, then it will be questionable from the other auditor side. So I think that the tariff is completely whatever the Tata Power and Reliance Infra are charging in the DISCOMs, it is up to some extent reflecting the cost of purchase. So I think it has already been factored in the prices, but it is a sentimental boost for the two companies because they are suffering day to day.
Rabindra, I just will have to interrupt you there. ITC earnings coming in, PAT at 2430 crores. That is slightly higher than what we had estimated. So that would be a decent, I would read these numbers as in line, marginally positive. So I think that would be roughly about 1.5% growth year on year coming in for ITC's Q2 profits. Sales, we are expecting, again, 0.5% growth, largely flat numbers. So let's see how the sales figure pans out. That's 8,800 crores versus an ETNOW poll that's 200 crores short of our estimates. So that they clearly missed estimates on the top line. On the bottom line, it seems like the numbers are in line. But this is not a good set of numbers to go by with for ITC. Remember, we were already trying to understand, the extent of the decline in cigarette volumes. That was something that the market was focusing on. The fact that they are transitioning into building their FMCG business would be key.